The story of Moses parting the Red Sea is one of the most dramatic tales in history. It's a story of faith, courage, and miraculous intervention. The image of a divided sea with walls of water flanking a dry path is etched into our collective imagination. But what if this iconic event, often attributed solely to divine power, had a scientific explanation? Could the forces of nature, rather than a suspension of them, have been at play? For centuries, the parting of the Red Sea has been interpreted primarily through a religious lens. It's seen as a testament to the power of God and the special relationship between God and the Israelites. However, recent scientific exploration offers a fascinating alternative perspective. Could natural phenomena combined with human ingenuity explain this seemingly impossible event? Let's dive into the science and explore how a confluence of factors might have aligned to create a passage through the sea. While we may never definitively know the exact events of that day, exploring the scientific possibilities adds a new dimension to our understanding of this pivotal moment in history. Enter Carl Drews, an oceanographer who decided to tackle this biblical riddle using the tools of modern science. Drews, employing computer modeling, investigated the potential of a phenomenon known as wind setdown. This effect, well documented in scientific literature, occurs when strong winds blowing consistently over a body of water push the water away from one location and pile it up in another. Imagine a bathtub partially filled with water. If you blow forcefully across the surface, the water level at one end of the tub will drop, revealing the bottom, while the water level at the other end will rise. This, in essence, is the wind setdown effect. Drew's research focused on whether such an effect, given the right geographical conditions and wind patterns, could have been responsible for temporarily creating a dry path in the Red Sea. His findings were intriguing. Drews identified locations where a strong easterly wind, blowing for an extended period, could theoretically push back the waters, exposing a land bridge beneath. While not confirming the biblical account definitively, his research suggested that such an event was within the realm of scientific possibility. While Drews focused on wind, another scientist, Bruce Parker, proposed a theory involving tides. Parker, an expert in coastal dynamics, suggested that Moses might have possessed knowledge of local tidal patterns. He theorized that the Israelites crossed during a naturally occurring low tide, a time when the water level would be at its lowest. Parker's theory hinges on the idea that a particularly low tide, combined with a strong easterly wind further lowering the water level, could have created a temporary window for the Israelites to cross. This window, however, would have been short-lived. Once the wind subsided and the tide turned, the waters would have rushed back in, just as the biblical account describes. While plausible, Parker's theory relies on a degree of speculation about Moses' knowledge. Did he possess the scientific understanding to predict such a specific tidal event? The answer, like many aspects of this historical puzzle, remains elusive. Adding to the complexity is the debate surrounding the exact location of the crossing. The Red Sea of today is not necessarily the same body of water that existed during the time of the Exodus. Geological changes over millennia have altered the landscape significantly. Some scholars believe that the crossing might have occurred further north, in the Gulf of Suez, or even a now-vanished lake called the Lake of Tannis. These locations, shallower than the Gulf of Aqaba, lend themselves more readily to the wind setdown theory. The shallower the water, the easier it is for wind to push it back and expose a land bridge. The search for the precise crossing point continues, with archaeologists and geologists meticulously examining ancient maps, sediment layers, and underwater formations. Pinpointing the location could provide crucial evidence to support or refute the various scientific theories. Section 5. The breath of freedom, wind as a force of nature. Central to both Drews and Parker's theories is the role of a prolonged, powerful easterly wind. The Bible describes a strong east wind blowing all night, playing a crucial role in parting the waters. But could wind alone generate enough force to create a safe passage? Wind, while invisible, is a formidable force of nature. It can shape landscapes, topple trees, and, as we're exploring, manipulate bodies of water. The speed and duration of the wind are critical factors in determining its impact. In the case of the Red Sea, a sustained wind speed of approximately 70 miles per hour blowing for 12 hours or more could theoretically create the necessary conditions for a temporary land bridge to emerge. While such wind speeds are uncommon, they are not unheard of, particularly in regions prone to powerful storms. Could a perfect storm, quite literally, have coincided with the Israelites' flight from Egypt, providing a wind-driven escape route? Section 6, History Repeats, Echoes of Exodus. Intriguingly, history offers tantalizing parallels that lend credence to the wind set-down theory. In 1812, Napoleon Bonaparte and his army, while retreating from Russia, encountered a similar situation at the Gulf of Suez. A strong easterly wind, blowing for an extended period, pushed back the waters, allowing Napoleon's troops to cross safely. This event, well documented in historical records, demonstrates the power of wind to temporarily alter water levels and create unexpected pathways. While not definitive proof of the Red Sea parting, it serves as a compelling example of how natural phenomena can mimic seemingly miraculous events. The Napoleon incident highlights the fact that what might appear supernatural can often be explained by a deeper understanding of the natural world. It underscores the importance of approaching historical accounts with a balance of skepticism and scientific curiosity. Section 7, Waves of Doubt, Alternative Explanations. Not everyone embraces the wind set-down theory. Critics argue that the sheer volume of water that would need to be displaced to create a dry path is simply too massive for wind alone to achieve. They point out that even the strongest winds would struggle to create a passage wide and deep enough for the Israelites to cross, especially considering the number of people and animals involved. Some propose alternative theories, such as the possibility of a tsunami. A tsunami, triggered by an underwater earthquake or volcanic eruption, could theoretically cause a temporary drawback of water, exposing the seabed. However, this explanation is problematic for several reasons. Tsunamis are notoriously unpredictable and destructive. It's highly unlikely that the Israelites would have survived such an event, let alone been able to cross the exposed seabed before the towering wave crashed back in. Moreover, there's no historical or geological evidence to suggest a tsunami occurred in the region around the time of the Exodus. Section 8, Beyond the Literal, Ruach Kadim and its Implications. Adding another layer to the discussion is the Hebrew interpretation of the text itself. The phrase, often translated as parting, actually translates more accurately to Ruach Kadim, meaning a wall of reeds. This interpretation suggests that the Israelites might not have crossed through a completely dry seabed, but rather through a marshy area where reeds grew abundantly. If the water level was significantly lowered by wind set-down or a low tide, these reed beds could have become passable, providing a route through the otherwise impassable waters. This interpretation aligns with the biblical description of the Egyptians being engulfed by the returning waters, suggesting a more gradual return of the sea rather than the sudden collapse of towering walls. This nuanced understanding of the Hebrew text encourages us to consider interpretations beyond the literal. It highlights the importance of linguistic and cultural context when analyzing historical accounts, particularly those rooted in religious traditions. Section 9, Faith and Reason, Two Sides of the Same Coin. The ongoing debate surrounding the parting of the Red Sea underscores a fundamental question: can science and faith coexist in our understanding of the world? Must we choose between a literal interpretation of religious texts and the explanations offered by science? Carl Drews, despite his scientific approach, doesn't see the two as mutually exclusive. He argues that his research doesn't diminish the religious significance of the event. Instead, it offers a deeper appreciation for the potential ways in which natural phenomena might have intertwined with human history. Ultimately, whether we embrace the wind set-down theory, tidal explanations, or alternative interpretations, the story of the Red Sea parting continues to captivate and inspire. It reminds us of the power of both nature and belief, and encourages us to approach the mysteries of the past with open minds and a